Hey everybody, it's Tom Foster on the World of Marketing, and I'm super excited to have my good friend and client, Nicole, and I don't want to butcher your last name, D'Ambrogi.
That was really good, Tom.
Did I say
D'Ambrogi.
right?
Yeah.
D'Ambrogi.
Yeah.
Okay. Nicole
You did great.
D'Ambrogi. And Nicole is a estate planning client in the beautiful city of San Diego, California. And also, my daughter lives in San Diego, and I was thinking about that.
Oh,
I gotta connect you guys. We'll do
yeah,
that
that would be
later.
great. Is she in school here?
No, she's she has a child and lives out there with her husband in San Diego.
Oh,
But she's very
awesome.
creative and she's a marketing gal. So, but she's stay at home right now. But maybe in the future, put you guys
Okay,
together. You never
that
know.
sounds great.
Well, okay. Anyway, Nicole, everybody, Nicole is I'm so proud of Nicole because Nicole came, well, how long has it been? How many years? Two
It was
years?
like in,
Years?
yeah, it was in the April of 2020 when we were shut down that I connected with Chad.
Yep. You came on board. Your solo practice, right?
Yep.
And okay, but before let's take it back. Let's take it back a little ways. Before that, you're in the Navy.
What?
First of all,
Yep.
thank you for your service.
Thank you for your support.
Yeah. I was in the Marine Corps, by the way, 85 to 91, way back when. So we
Oh,
are,
Semper Fi.
yeah, hoorah. So, so when were you in?
I was in 2005 to 2010, but I was, right? But I did a majority of my time at Marine Corps Security Force Battalion. So I was in a Marine unit.
Oh, nice.
So most of
Cool.
my service was with the Marines. So I feel more connected in a sense to that service.
Was
Like
it out there
I
in
could,
Pendleton?
no, it was in Kings Bay, Georgia.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
from originally out there? Are you from San Diego?
I'm from Sonoma, California. So up north, the wine country.
So what did you do when you were in the Navy?
I was Navy police, security forces.
Ooh, you were an MP.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
cool. So is that when you wanted to become a lawyer? When you're
No,
so
no. I've
that's
actually wanted to be a lawyer for as long as I can remember. Like I would make everybody in the neighborhood play court, and I was always the judge. And I remember my
oh,
brother would like object to what I was saying, and I'd always overrule him, you know. And so it was always a career of mine that I wanted to. And so my like 18-year-old thought process was, well, I could go be law enforcement, and that would give me like a ground view of like crime in the streets, and then that would help me one day in my career.
oh, that's cool.
And so that was kind of my logical thought process when I was
You thought
18.
about it. Good for
I
you.
did. And when I joined, and I remember in my barracks room I had this binder, and it was essentially my pathway to become a lawyer, how I was going to get there. Like step one, what did I need to do, right? I needed to get a bachelor's degree, and how was I going to do that? And so I had this like binder of like I was going to apply for the Seaman to Admiral program, and I was going to have the military send me off to college. And then when things didn't start like panning out the way that I had originally planned for my binder, I had to start putting in like contingency plans, right? Like, okay, well, I wasn't like the favorite chosen one to go to this like very elite program. So now what I'm going to do. And when I was on active duty, I remember Friday nights and the parties were out in the barracks. And here I am in my barracks room, like typing away at a paper. And I had like my friends sitting next to me, like, come on, Nicole, we need you to be the DD. And I'm like, dude, I got to get this paper in. Like, they're like, okay, how can we help? And I'm like, by like going away, I'll be ready.
All right, I'm trying to work on my future while you guys are partying.
Right, that's exactly
Right.
it. And I remember going to the commanding officer and telling the commanding officer, like, hey, I need you to approve my request to move off base because I'm in school and it's too disruptive in the
Wow.
barracks to get my work
Good
done.
for you.
And I saved the
How
petition.
mature of you.
Well, he granted it, and I was the first like E4 that was able to like move out of the barracks and
Wow.
to a private housing.
You were
And so
enlisted?
yeah,
You were
I
enlisted.
was. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay, good.
And so I actually got my bachelor's degree while I was on active duty.
Oh,
Um,
wow. So that
mhm.
you, man, you worked for it, Nicole.
I did. Yeah, I got it in my
Good for
first
you.
enlistment,
That's not easy.
and no, it wasn't. And then I took my
So
LSAT
you
actually
went to school while you were in the Navy.
full time. Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm
a lot
even
of
more
sleepless nights.
impressed. Wow.
Thank you.
I'm
And then in
wow.
my last year in the Navy, I had to take my LSATs, and I was at that time stationed overseas, and the closest testing center was in Italy. And so I ended up taking a boat, a plane, and a train to get to the testing center.
Wow.
And I tested for my LSATs in Italy my last year on active duty.
Okay. So then you got your degree,
Mm-hmm.
and where'd you go to law school?
I went to Thomas Jefferson School of Law here in San Diego.
Okay. And so when did you do that? While you were in?
Nope, I got out in March. Well, I got out in February of 2010. I March of 2010 is I completed my last class for my bachelor's, and I started law school that August of 2010. So it was just a very boom, boom, boom. I got out with a plan. So I got out because I
I
was going to
love
law
this.
school.
I love the
Yeah,
plan.
so I had the plan. And then, as I
Yeah.
said, like these contingencies, right? So I had to really answer this question my last year of active duty because I had this idea of going JAG. Well,
Sure.
to get to JAG, I was going to have to jump, the river, and I was going to have to go from enlisted to officer, and then I was
Right.
going to have to make it to O3, which is a lieutenant. Then I was going to have to apply for the program, and so that I was calculating all these years and
Sure.
all these like what ifs and opportunities to be denied, and
Of
I was looking
course.
at, well, I've already completed my bachelor's, I've already taken my LSATs, like, and I'm at the end of my enlistment. So I can get out and there's a clear trajectory for me to accomplish my dream. Or I could continue to stay in and risk the chance of people telling me no. And I just
Right.
wasn't in the business of people telling me no. So
Right.
I said,
No,
well,
I've gotten that from you.
yeah, I
That's
have in
great.
my mind where I want to be. And there's just, I'm going to get there. So yeah, so I got out and just went into law school, and the rest is history.
That's great. Okay, so 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah, 5 years. Good job. Well done.
Thank you.
And you took a total advantage of it. You did great service for your country. Went to school. Good girl. Good job, man. You're like,
Thanks.
okay, so how old were you?
I joined at 18,
Wow.
and I got out, I think, just before my 23rd birthday.
So this is
Maybe.
particularly interesting to me because I did the same thing, but I screwed it up. I intended to do the same thing. I went in the Marine Corps and went intended to go to school while I was in the Marine Corps, like you did. But I partied instead and blew it. Just blew it. Never got a degree in anything. I'm okay, but you have a better story. Your story is so much better. I'm so proud of you for that. That's so great that you did that. Okay, so anyway, go to law school. Have you married yet?
In law school?
No, have you married your husband yet? Have you met your husband?
When now?
No, during this
This time?
yeah, right before law school.
We
Just trying to
knew
get
each
the
other.
timeline down a bit.
The timeline. Okay, so the timeline. I actually met my husband in 2002 at the Marine recruiting office. He had just gotten out of boot camp. We were at
He's a
we were
Marine?
at war. He's a Marine.
Oh, hoorah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was. So we met in
Picture
like
on the
this.
website. There's a picture of him on the website. There he is. Hoorah.
Yep. Yeah.
Just in the
And so you
beautiful
actually
family
wouldn't
there.
know his journey, but he was Marine infantry. He was a mortarman, and he was part of the initial invasion in Iraq, and he was in the Battle of Fallujah and Ramadi, both battles of Fallujah. So he had a very different experience. He was the ground troops in combat, and you know, at the time I was still in high school, so we were really like openly dating, but we definitely carried on a relationship through two of his deployments to Iraq. And then after he came back, each and every time he was a little different and a little different. And for years, I would tell the story of the shell of the man that I once knew, and that just really lost himself in war. And after he came back a second time, I had then joined the Navy, and he went back to do one more deployment to Iraq, and we lost touch. He ended up marrying another lady, and they had a beautiful son together, who I love very much. But he definitely, you know, the story of the war-ridden, you know, veteran, that's his story. He ended up coming back and hitting a very rough road, and was drug addicted and homeless and living on the streets in Las Vegas. And so he had a really rough reentry, but I knew always that he was a really good person. And so our story has a lot to do with war and PTSD and recovery and just the journey through it. And he's now been, you know, off the streets and out of the system for over 10 years. And he just really made that miraculous recovery. But his story actually, when I first became licensed, I was really into doing pro bono work for veterans within the system, just because I knew how war had impacted him and what a good person he was, but what his life had turned out to be. And I always would say the story of the shell of the man. And if in my heart, if there was any person I would want to help, it would have been him. And so, you know, as fate would have it, we were able to reconnect. And at the time, he was, you know, in jail. And we worked together to turn his life around. And he was receptive to all the help. And he really worked all the treatments. And he genuinely desired a better life. And so I'm very, very proud of him and all of the sacrifices he's made and all of the work that he's done. Obviously, you know, war has an impact on people, and he's still, you know, affected today, but he is able to live a very healthy and productive life, which I couldn't be more proud of him. So, yeah.
Well, good for you for doing what you've done for him. You know, like, and yes, congratulations to him, and I wish you guys the best success with that. That's a beautiful story. I mean, like,
Thank you.
yeah, that's fantastic. So,
But you weren't expecting all of that,
no,
were
I
you?
really wasn't. But that's what I love about these. That's what I love about this podcast. Is like I just, you know, I just like to talk about stuff and find out about people and get to know you better, Nicole. I didn't know any of these things. I mean, that's a beautiful story. I mean, is that why you got? Is that why you're in the area of law that you're in?
Well, I focus on estate planning and asset protection and estate administration. That I actually got into because of my grandmother and her estate and how it was just really could have been planned a lot better. But I also, now I teach at Thomas Jefferson School of Law, and I'm the supervising attorney and adjunct professor for the Veterans Legal Assistance Clinic. So now I am still able to bring pro bono legal
I love
services.
your thing here, your little press. What is it? What do you call this? Your media kit. I love your media kit. It's very classy.
Thank you.
Award-winning attorney, author, veteran, and women's coach. I love it. It's very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, but go ahead. I interrupted you.
Oh, yeah. So I was just saying that now I'm still able to do pro bono services to veterans, low income veterans within the area of San Diego. I'm able to teach and mentor law students and really teach them. I love it because I can teach them how to practice with a heart and compassion. And just knowing that there are people out there like my husband, that they're not meant to be in the system, but they ended up there because, you know, war does have an impact on them. And so I still am able to serve the veteran community, and but that's really not my primary focus of law. My primary focus of law is generational wealth transfers and asset protection.
It's interesting. Okay, so you decided to become, you wanted to become a lawyer. So you became a cop first, and
Yeah.
right, yeah, military
Mm-hmm.
cop, and then you became a lawyer. Now, and there's so many different kinds of law to practice, and because of your grandmother and because of what you went through, is that the reason why you chose estate planning law?
Yeah. Yep.
Um,
Yep.
So, and you want to help protect other people, and you wrote this book, Estate Planning Simplified, right?
I did. I wrote it because I love my clients and I really want them to
Yep.
feel like I'm dedicated to them. And the idea is that all my clients feel like they're my only client. The problem is that in reality, I don't have just one client. I have a lot of clients.
Sure.
So on occasion, you know, you get the engineer that comes in that wants to read every page of the 130-page trust document. And then they ask me a million questions, which is great. But, you know, I also just realized that people needed a resource to kind of break down these concepts into more simple terms. A lot of times people call and they're like, oh, I just need a will. I don't want to worry about anything else. And it's like, but you need to worry about other things.
Yeah, there's other
Here's
things that
why.
you're not thinking about. You're right.
Right. And so, like I said, I think it's on the back of my book. You know, not everything in the entire book will apply to everybody because estate planning is not a one size fits all, but I guarantee that everybody can find a section that applies to them. So it is a good kind of pocket guide. And just, you know, if you want to know a little bit about something, like, it's a great resource to have.
Well, Nicole, I just love what you have done. You're a true entrepreneur. It is not easy. You're in growth mode. You know, you decide. Oh, I had another question. Why did you decide to go out on your own instead of going to work for another firm?
That's a great question, Tom. So I've always believed in myself, and I know that I'm capable of doing things for myself. The other thing is, after I graduated, I took the bar. I was looking for jobs, and frankly, you know, entry level employment for lawyers, the pay is very insulting. I think I was making more on active duty as an E5 than what I would make as an entry level attorney. And I just, you know, I really wasn't okay with working for $35,000 a year and having somebody to tell me when to be somewhere and what to wear and what cases I had to work on. And so it was like, all right, well, you know, frankly, it's still okay to be poor in your 20s. So I had passed, I was only 28. So, you know, it's like, all right, like, this is the time to just put in the work and see what I can do to create something for myself. And I love it. I love the ability to do things my way. The other thing is, I like to control my atmosphere. I like to control the experience of the clients. I have done some contract work for other firms and just realized that, you know, it's very difficult to find a firm that is client centered. And I like to be client centered. Although I need money to support my family. Money is not my end game. My end game is making sure my clients are taken care of. And I've just realized that there are a lot of firms out there that are very much money is the end game. And that's not my game. And it's just not a good fit for me. So there's that aspect. And then, if we want to get really raw and really honest, while I was on active duty, I experienced sexual harassment and assault from my direct supervisor. So I've found it difficult and for me personally and challenging to trust having somebody directly over me. And so again, I think that just comes back to controlling my environment. And so there's a lot of things, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's because I believed in myself.
You are something else. I am just really impressed. And I just want to thank you for being a client of ours. And I appreciate you, Nicole. I appreciate you choosing us and entrusting Foster Web Marketing to be your partner on the web. What's next for you? You've built this little practice. Where are you going to go from here?
Well, there's like several different places I want to go. I am currently working with a mentor on the bench. So trying to kind of shape and create my career to make me a viable candidate to one day be on the bench.
Oh, interesting. You'd like to do that.
I do. And really it boils down to, I believe that a judge saved my husband's life when he finally held him accountable. And that's where the turning point came. And so sometimes I know that there's several different areas of law and it's just not criminal law, but I also believe and understand that in that concept of a judge, you have the ability to really impact somebody's life. So if they need rehabilitation, that you could get them rehabilitation. And sometimes that means making them hit that rock bottom. So I know the good that can come of the justice system if done properly. And I just want to have that ability one day to be able to help somebody else kind of realize their true potential and know that that's not their end game. So ideally, I would love to find myself on a bench one day. In the interim, I am trying to work on developing my Legal Nugget series, which is just a little nugget of legal information that you can withhold and not kind of like waterboarding somebody with everything you need to know at one time. And I really would love to be able to see myself doing a TED Talk or some type of inspirational talk for young women entrepreneurs, whether they be veterans or young women just pursuing a dream in a professional career.
Well, Nicole, I have no doubt that all of those things will happen for you.
Thank you.
You are something else. And I'm proud to know you and call you a friend and a client. And it has been a pleasure having you on the podcast. And
thank you so much for having me.
Inspiration to all of us. Look at you.
Oh, thank you.
Not only did you do this for yourself, but you also helped your husband. And, we only got the little sprinkling of it. I'm sure, the devil's in all the details of what trouble he's been through. And what a beautiful thing to have a guardian angel like you to save him.
Well, thank you so much for saying that. There's no denying that I was an integral part of his recovery and rehabilitation. But I have to tell you, I won too, because he is my quiet strength.
Yeah.
I am able to take on the world because I feel safe and secure in my home.
It's a beautiful thing. And that's what life is all about. Life's a series of ups and downs. But in the end, you get somebody you can partner with, hold on to. You're in it together, man. And hold on to that person, Nicole.
100%, Tom.
What's his name?
Darren.
Darren, okay.
Darren, yep.
You tell Darren I said hello and oorah, semper fi. And it's been great talking to you. Good to see you again, Nicole. Thank you so much for being on my podcast. You and I should meet up again. I got a couple ideas for your website, by the way. So let's talk about that in the next few weeks. Okay.
Awesome. Sounds great.
All right, Nicole. Thank you so much. Everybody, it's Tom Foster and Nicole, and I will talk to you all soon on the World of Marketing. Take care, everybody.